give you guys the behind the scenes while also preparing you for what's coming. If that makes sense. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I have to respect her wishes. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have projects that are coming out. That's it. Nah, don't be mad. Don't be mad at her. She is here to protect me. She is here to do a great job. Shout out to my agent.
Oh, man. So, when KD and Kyrie Irving went to the Brooklyn Nets, we all was like, dang, why the Nets and not the Knicks? You know, everyone was wondering what happened, but we thought it was going to lead to some type of success. But it turned out to be a project that never reached its full potential. Them having James Harden for the short amount of time that they did just adds more insult to injury, dog. But Kyrie Irving was on a live stream speaking about everything, the whole situation. And it came to this point that the stepmom had to step in and say, yo, chill out, you doing too much. She is his agent, by the way, so he wanted to respect her wishes, you know. But shoot, he was telling a lot. Give him a lot of details in the meantime, though. So we here. It's out there. Let's go ahead and check it out, man. This for the sports fan trying to see what the hell happened with Brooklyn. So Kyrie often gets blamed for that time because, you know, he was focused on himself in some people's mind in regards to the vaccine. And he also had some injury issues, okay? So he wasn't always on the court, especially around the time when KD and James found a little pocket. So KD said on the Nets, it felt like we were committed, but everybody else wasn't. And he's speaking to Steve Nash and LeBron James. Steve Nash was a coach at that point in time. But Kyrie said this right here.
Even as I watch Bron sit there, he knows that a lot of this stuff was happening, but also him being in LA, he had his own thing going too. So this is giving him clarity on what happened, but it's also coming from just KD and Steve. And there were a lot of parties involved in this. And some of the other parties that are involved probably won't ever speak on it, but you know, eventually I will.
Around the guys that were committed to the situation, I felt like we were committed, but everybody else wasn't. It just was weird.
I see. This was the part where I honestly looked at it and I was like, when he said this, emotionally I was like, okay, we're all committed to the goal at the end of the day, but sometimes not everybody's gonna follow what you want them to do. I wish I had my soundboard for this, but not everybody's gonna do what you want them to do. And I've had to accept that as a human being and as a leader. Not everybody's gonna do what you want them to do. Not everybody's gonna be committed the way you want them to be committed. Right? And it's not like Kay has asked me for this, but it's like I asked for this commitment before I committed to Brooklyn from him. Which was a beautiful thing. I'm like, yo, let's commit to this thing. We could build up Brooklyn. We could really put Brooklyn on the map. You know, nobody's really thinking about Brooklyn. But when he said that, I'm like, bro, Steve wasn't even in the play yet. But this is your man's. This is your man. So I got to support that. This is your man's. Cool. You want him? Cool. You like Steve? I love Steve. You know what I'm saying? Cool. As a younger brother, I'm like, okay. I don't care. That's fine. You want Steve to coach? That's fine. But when you're committed to the same goal and then a year changes things and then things going behind the scenes, like, come on.
But everybody else wasn't. It just was weird.
Yeah, it was weird timing, bro. It was weird for everybody. It was weird for everybody, y'all. You know, and that's what I'm grateful that I've been able to gather all the information and yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, I gave you guys certain details, guys. I'm not gonna address this just to be clipped up a bunch of times and this to be misconstrued, misunderstood. Okay. I was just speaking objectively and what happened from my vantage point and how that happened, and also giving you guys the context that will be coming out down the line. Right. There are so many things that were missed during that time that I'm always gonna reflect on and look at it as if, you know, it gave me an ample opportunity to come and be truthful, but while also making sure I'm protecting all those that were involved. Again, I'm not shooting shots at anybody. I'm not ever going to try to put anyone else down. I'll just always will try to big up my brothers and sisters and do it in the best way I know how and talk factually, but also, you know, again, give you guys the behind the scenes while also preparing you for what's coming. If that makes sense. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I have to respect her wishes. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have projects that are coming out. That's it. Nah, don't be mad. Don't be mad at her. She is here to protect me. She is here to do a great job. Shout out to my agent.
But you guys got to remember, like, he was getting blamed by everybody, especially Stephen A. Smith. He was on his head crazy. Ultimately saying he's the reason why, bro, James Harden wanted to leave.
With the Nets front office one time. I didn't meet with the GM one time, the assistant GM one time. Literally, when I look back at that decision, I'm like, man, I should have taken some more time to delegate and figure out what's best for me. You know, KD had just tore his Achilles in the finals. Me and him were, you know, planning on doing things to go to Brooklyn, right? I don't know any of you guys that would still stick it out with one of your friends that tears their Achilles and wait a year and a half for them to get healthy, but I'm that dude. You know what I'm saying?
I remember when I heard about that, and I'm like, Kyrie doing what? Kyrie perfectly fine right now. He's gonna be there by himself, just waiting for KD in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, around the time they had a decent roster. It wasn't crazy though, but they had a decent roster at one time. But they're known for having a lit bench and all the videos of the bench celebrating and shit. Around the time D'Angelo Russell was on the team still. So I just was surprised that they made that move.
Saying like, I'm not about to leave K out there after a torn Achilles and be like, nah, fuck that. We not going to play together anymore. I waited for my brother to get healthy. You know what I'm saying? And now Brooklyn, I wish that we got a chance to get to know them beforehand because they wasn't fucking with me like that.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just me. That's my perspective. That's my perspective. Now, did they want me on the team? Sure. You can say that. But Kenny Atkinson wasn't fucking with me like that, bro. Nets didn't want me like that. They wanted K. And that's my vantage point, right? This is the information that I gathered after I left. And again, this is not about Brooklyn. It's just about business. I wish I would have handled the business better and got a chance to know them first. Ask them questions. Hey, what's the future like? Instead of just committing blindly and thinking that, hey, we about to come in here and just do X, Y, and Z. Right? I didn't have much power going in there. I couldn't say who we could get and who we could not get. I couldn't hire the coach, or if we, you know, you guys knew my opinion on the head coach at the time, right? It wasn't perfect, but it was very immature. Right? I was very immature at that point.
Was it Kyrie that said that we didn't need a coach? We don't need a coach. It was crazy that he did put that out there. So at that point in time, there was a narrative that he was a locker room cancer. But he did help the narrative.
You know, 27, 28. I'm leaving Boston, feeling good about going back home. And I'm hyped. You know what I'm saying? I'm signing. You know what I mean? I left my management company, went to Rock Nation at that point. Ended up leaving Rock Nation 2 years after that. I signed with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, a lot of changes were going on. I had teammates, I had friendship changes, but I'm going to get back to the point, right? When I was in Brooklyn, I just look back at that business decision like, yo, get to know the front office before you make any decision. You know? It's just, it's yeah. Now, there was a lot happening, you guys. Trust me. A lot of tentacles in the...
That's crazy that he feel like they didn't want him. Like, hey, how don't you want Kyrie Irving on your roster? I understand some people are like more consistent as far as the injuries and stuff, but still, once he there, it's very few people that's better than him. It's very few people that's better than him at the position, you know? And then as far as his skill set, no one's better than him at his skill set. So right here, Kai talks about the James Harden trade.
So when James got traded for Ben, I don't think we knew the landscape of where Ben was at, right? I don't think we knew where Ben was at. So when that trade happened, it shocked a lot of people. It shocked me. I was talking to James one day. And I'm like, shit, bro, we about to go win these championships. And it was like a day later, asked for a trade. I was like, oh, shoot, okay. Shit like that now. Okay, I can't be mad. I'm not going to ever be mad at someone doing what's best for them. Right? And shout out to James, right? And I've had my conversation with James, and I told him, I said, bro, I understood completely. I understood completely what you were doing, man. I understood, like, you're in the middle of the season, you're unsure about what I got going on, you know, you don't know what the next portion of your career is going to look like. You know, things are going on, so you have your questions, you know, what contract you going to get. Because we're all max deal players at that point. Me, James, and Kay are all max deal players. We are all worth whatever we're about to get paid, right? I'm going to say that out loud. But when that happened and we got Ben, a lot more pressure started to come in on our franchise, because now not only do we have this going on, but also we have a situation that Ben is dealing with where everybody is trying to micromanage the spun narrative. Like, he's doing this, he's doing that. So it wasn't a fair trade at the outset, right? It was not at all. I didn't feel like that was a fair trade. But at the same time, when it happened, he went to our division. He went to Philly.
And before this, Kyle also talked about Ime Udoka leaving Brooklyn and going to Boston, you know, and when they had to play them, they knew all their damn plays and shit.
Other teams, we got coaches going to other teams.
Yep, and he's talking about coaches going to the team. Ime Udoka literally went to the Boston Celtics after coaching with us. That was crazy, bro. You know, that was crazy. We had Ime Udoka literally go to Boston the next year. I mean, like, you got coaches leaving other teams, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just opportunity. But we're in the same division. Can you imagine going against the coach that literally saw all of our strengths and weaknesses, and now we're playing against them? You know what I'm saying? So Boston was ready for us. Ime had them ready, had the Celtics ready, dog. When we played them in the 2022 playoffs, shit got wild. Shit got wild, y'all. For sure, shit got wild. So we had a lot going on. Katie is right. That's what I'm saying. When I said I'm gonna address this on stream, it literally was just about doing this and having fun with it and letting people know. Okay. You know, letting people know like what it is. That's all.
Well, I hope that brought a lot of clarity to the sports fans out there, man. That was a crazy situation that we just knew, especially once they got James Harden. We just knew that they would at least make a run for the Eastern Conference Finals at some point. But when James abruptly asked for that trade, it was like, damn, it's just over like that. You're not even gonna see it through. Like, that shit was crazy. But that's where we wrap this one up right here, man. Yo, make sure y'all go follow my sports channel, All Ball. You can find it on my main channel page just by clicking that thing, scrolling down, and you'll see it right here. All Ball. Subscribe. Get us to 1K subs, and we're going to have sports content popping out daily, especially for the upcoming season. So let's go ahead and prepare. But y'all let me know what you got to say in the comment section below. I'm going to get up out of here, though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.